Canucks win in a shootout in a pretty uneventful game against the Habs. Let's go through it. The Canucks came out strong and confident, moving the puck pretty well. The additions of Jace Howerluck and Mark Michaelis, along with JT Miller at the center position, I thought provided the Canucks with better results. Their offensive lines were able to actually build some momentum. Mark Michaelis, in his first shift in the game, he was streaking through the neutral zone, calling for a breakaway pass. But Mark, that's Brandon Sutter with the puck. There won't be any passes. Welcome to Benning's Canucks, Mark. Demko outdueled Carey Price, who also had a strong game. Ben left the game early with an injury. I hope he's all right. He's played pretty well over the last month. And it really highlighted how bad of a game Tyler Myers was having. Myers just struggled consistently, and the added ice time with Ben out really helped drive the Canucks into a hole. The Canadians scored early with a Petrie power play goal. It was a simple, accurate wrister that was perfectly timed as Perry drifted in front of Demko. The shot was so impressive that it seemed like every player tried it for the next period. We didn't see a slap shot until the second half of the game. Although Vancouver started strong, the Canadians' forecheck dominated them for the majority of the game. Myers and the Canucks D were often unable to control their end, even when they had numbers against a solo Montreal forechecker. Third period and beyond was pretty uneventful, save for the buzzer-beating Gaudette goal. Although the Habs had the one goal lead into the third, it looked like both teams were playing with the lead or for a tie. Canucks greatly struggled to mount any kind of dangerous offense. Luckily, Gaudette received a beautiful pass from Horvat, who had drawn 3 Canadian defenders to him. Gaudette picked the right time to place the perfect slap shot off the post and in. Overtime was a bizarre game of keep-away, with very few great chances, especially on Montreal's end. Although Price did make a dramatic dive and glove save on the goal line to stop a Brock Besser wraparound. The Canucks held on to win in the shootout when Horvat sniped a nice one after Price lost the positioning game and gave him a large chunk of net to shoot at. Like most games, the Canucks started strong. They struggled to maintain momentum. Myers was an anchor in the worst way. Hughes was up and down. Jake had some moments. Howerluck and Michaelis had positive games and have made the case that either of them could and should take Roussel or even Sutter's spot. Perhaps they need to be trusted on the PK to take what Roussel and Sutter do, but you've already got Miller out there. You've tried Pearson out there. Why not just see what Höglander can do? He has a really smart stick and breakaway speed, although I would feel like an idiot if he got hit by a puck and was injured. But the Leafs put Marner on the PK and it works pretty well. These two get a chance to play a more entertaining game on Wednesday as the Habs and Canucks meet again for a rematch. Overall, a pretty boring game, a pretty uneventful game, but it was what we expected. You know, the Canucks came out, they start strong, and they just didn't have the offensive juice with Pettersson out and just this team overall lacking a lot of offensive chemistry in that bottom six. It's been nice seeing Michaelis and Howerluck streak around. I thought Howerluck had some pretty great plays, both offensively and defensively, definitely more than what we've seen out of their bottom six. And I'd like to see them continue on. Obviously, they're not great solutions going forward. You're probably not going to win a championship if you're... Maybe you could have a Howerluck on your fourth line, and I think you could do pretty well. Michaelis, we'll see. But I'd rather see those guys on the fourth line, sort of a taxi squad, than what we've seen down there. I'd rather see Eriksson come in. All I can hope for at this point is that moving forward, when Seattle comes in, they please leave Myers to be unprotected and have him taken. If they could clear off the $6 million, because he just had a terrible game, and he usually does. The thing with Myers is that he's probably the worst defenseman they have out there every night, and he's the most expensive defenseman. It's just crazy. Like, I can understand when Benning brought in Roussel and Schaller and Beagle, and he gave Sutter the extension. I don't like the moves, but I get it. You were trying to insulate a team you thought was going to be terrible for a little bit longer than it was, while Pettersson and your other rookies grew. And it turns out they got better faster than you planned, so you tried to make up for it, and you brought in Toffoli, and you totally mismanaged that, and you brought in Miller without really a plan of how to get a lot better. But to bring in Myers and a team that has already been struggling with the cap, every team is struggling with the cap. The cap is too low, and a flat cap is not making it any easier. But then to bring in Myers was just the last straw. it's not like Myers was highly sought after and then fell off a cliff. He's playing Tyler Myers hockey. Other than the blip of him winning the Calder Trophy, the guy has been a second to third pairing, sometimes a solid second pairing. And that's it. And at his worst, he gets stuck in his own zone. He's too slow. He takes terrible penalties. And then he's kind of like Virtanen. Every once in a while, he gets a good head of steam, and you think, well, it's pretty impressive. And if things go well, if the other team is not forechecking like crazy, Myers can usually make a pretty decent pass, and he's a tough guy. I get it. He has those intangibles. But when it comes to actually playing defense, which is his job as a defenseman, he's just been either average or worse. At best, he's an average guy. But I'd much rather see just about any other defenseman out there ahead of Myers, except for maybe Chatfield, because he needs to learn. But I'd rather watch Chatfield learn and fail than Myers anymore. Please, Seattle, take this guy. All right, that's it for me. I'm going to come up here after the next Canadiens and Canucks game.